Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Browns NFL recap show. Late, and the late games, and we'll update the Sunday night game. We'll recap last night's game too against the Rams and Cardinals, which they won. That game, the Rams won 13-9 last night at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. I'm gonna give you a little recap on that one, and the Los Angeles Rams spent the entire second half struggling on offense while bending just enough on defense to preserve any tiny lead. Arizona even backed Los Angeles into its own end zone in the final minute, needing just one big play to steal a win. And Keller Witherspoon and the Rams hung on by their fingertips, and now they are on the brink of another NFC West title. And Witherspoon made a diving interception on a deflected pass in the end zone with 37 seconds left to play, and the Rams barely maintained command of the division race with a 13-9 victory over the Cardinals on Saturday night. Puka Nacua had 129 yards receiving, and Kyren Williams scored the only touchdown for the Rams, who are now 10-6, who grinded through a difficult offensive night and survived a hair-raising fourth quarter for their fifth consecutive victory. We don't do a whole lot great, to be honest with you, said Matthew Stafford, who passed for 189 yards in the Rams' ninth win in 11 games. Didn't run it great, didn't throw it great, but found a way to get a win and get enough points. The Rams host Seattle, who are 9-7 in their regular season finale next weekend, but they could already have Coach Sean McVay's fourth division clinched before then. If the Bills, Browns, Vikings, and Commanders combine for 3 wins or 2 wins or a tie over the next 2 days, Los Angeles will be NFC West champions based on its strength of schedule, no matter what happens against Seattle. If the Rams don't give their strength of schedule help this week, they're still in command of the division race. The Seahawks will have to beat the Rams to get help from multiple teams to claim the West, while denying the Rams 6th playoff berth in 8th season under McVay. The Rams narrowly avoided a winner-take-all finale against Seattle by holding off the Cardinals, who played a tremendous defensive game 1 week after getting eliminated from playoff contention. Kyler Murray passed for 321 yards and threw 2 late interceptions for Arizona, who have fallen to 7-9 on the season, which managed just 3 points out of 3 drives into Rams territory in the fourth quarter. And I'm going to give you the trivia question right now. I forgot to do that when I first started. And it's a Dolphins trivia question. The Browns' opponent, who was Browns' opponent today, who was the first Dolphin to pass for more than 400 yards in a game? And I will have the answer later in the podcast. And Arizona drove Los Angeles to the Los Angeles 5 in the final minute, but the Rams called out an all-out blitz on first down. Murray's quick pass deflected off tight end Trey McBride's helmet, and Witherspoon made a 10 figurative interception in the end zone that was upheld by video review, even though the ball touched ground while between his hands. And just the way the NFL works, you never really know. Honestly, Witherspoon said, I thought I stuck it. You saw my big celebration, but once I saw the replay, anytime the ball hits the ground, you never know. So, but they get a big win. So, and McBride made his 100th. McBride made both his 100th reception and his first touchdown catch of the season for Arizona, who has lost 5 of 6. McBride had 12 catches for 123 yards, and Marvin Harrison Jr. had 96 yards receiving in that game. And right now, I got to give the game balls to the Rams. I give it to Matthew Stafford, Kyren Williams, and Puka Nakua. And that was one of my. I took the Rams and won with that one. Right now, I started 6-0 on the picks today, and my brother-in-law Eric Hoyle, I know, uh, he started out uh, 4-2, and he took the Rams and lost. Took the Patriots and lost as well. But the other four: Chiefs, Ravens, Seattle, and Bengals, and won on all of those. So, and right now we are going to start with the Browns game, which they are hopefully going to get a better draft pick. They fell to 3-13 today. Uh, Tyler Huntley stepped in for Tua Tagovailoa and stepped up for the Dolphins. And Miami still has a playoff pulse. Huntley scrambled for a touchdown and threw for one while starting for the injured Tagovailoa, and the Dolphins stayed in the AFC wildcard race heading into their season finale with a 20-3 win over the Cleveland Browns on Sunday, with Tagovailoa sidelined by a hip injury. The backup, known as Snoop, did enough for the Dolphins, who are now 8-8 on the season. That was not ideal in any way, shape, or form, said Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel, adding, he helped he held out hope and just hope until just before kickoff that Tagovailoa might play, but it was a tremendous outing for Huntley. It showed how far Snoop has come. Miami needs a win next weekend at the New York Jets, and hope that the Denver Broncos lose at home to Kansas City to get a postseason berth. Unfortunately for the Dolphins, quarterback Patrick Mahomes and many of the top-seeded Chiefs starters are expected to rest. For the first time in my life, I'm about to be a huge Chiefs fan. Dolphins defensive tackle Calais Campbell said, "It might not happen making the playoffs, but we have an opportunity, and if it does happen, look out, we're coming." Tagovailoa's status for next week is unclear, but Huntley showed he can get the job done if necessary. He finished 22 of 26 for 225 yards and didn't have any turnovers in his fourth start this season. The 26-year-old was with Cleveland in training camp before being released in August. Huntley downplayed any thought he was seeking revenge against the Browns. When I left, that was it, said Huntley, who was signed by Miami in September when Tagovailoa suffered his latest concussion. For him to get cut, it was our blessing picking him up, Campbell said. Tagovailoa was limited in practice all week with the hip injury suffered 2 weeks ago against Houston. McDaniel said, it's impossible to know whether Tagovailoa will be available to face the Jets next weekend. From a medical perspective, it was not an option for him to play today, McDaniel said. Tagovailoa spent the afternoon on the sideline in sweats, encouraging Huntley and his other teammates. The quarterback was not available for interviews afterward. Well, the Browns dropped to 13-3, their fifth straight, finished 2-6 at home, and could be headed toward another off-season major turnover. They improved their draft position for 2025. When will they likely look for a quarterback? I have no comments, said Browns coach Kevin Stefanski, whose job appears safe despite the team's regression after making the playoffs last season. Dorian Thompson-Robinson isn't the long-term answer. In his second straight start, the second-year QB completed 24 of 47 passes for 170 yards. He also threw an interception, lost a fumble, and was flagged 3 times for an intentional grounding. for intentional grounding, excuse me. We were harassing him all day, Campbell said. Both offenses had issues and in windy and wet conditions, but Huntley handled them better. He ran for a 13-yard touchdown early in the third quarter to put the Dolphins up 13-3. After rolling right, Huntley made several precise cuts as he picked his way down the sideline and into the end zone. He was just making plays, said receiver Tyreek Hill, who had 9 catches for 105 yards. Hill said Tagovailoa pushed as hard as possible to play. Basically, it was the staff trying to save a player from himself, Hill said. The Browns had a chance to cut into the lead, but Dolphins quarterback Jalen Ramsey broke up Thompson Robinson's 4th and goal pass toward Jerry Jeudy in the end zone. Huntley connected with tight end Jonnu Smith on a 7-yard TD with 3:38 left. Miami's Jason Sanders kicked field goals of 54 and 39 yards. He's made a franchise best 25 in a row. The streak helped by a friendly bounce off the crossbar on his 54-yarder in the first quarter. The Browns tied it when Dustin Hopkins, who was benched for a game during a recent slump, kicked a 25-yard field goal. Browns defensive end Myles Garrett celebrated his 29th birthday with a pair of sacks. Last season's Defensive Player of the Year has 14 this season, making him the first player in league history to get that many for 4 years in a row. Dolphins left tackle Teron Armstead was forced out in the second quarter with a knee injury that has bothered him for weeks. Patrick Paul filled in, and wide receiver Jaden Waddle had a knee injury and was inactive. Browns quarterback Denzel Ward had a shoulder injury, didn't play in the second half after getting hurt in the second quarter. Linebacker Jordan Hicks was ruled out with a head injury. Running back Jerome Ford had an ankle, was forced out in the first half. He came back, but was only on the field for one play after halftime. Running back Pierre Strong Jr. left with an apparent head injury in the final minutes. And the Dolphins wrap up their regular season, as I said, against the Jets on January 4th or 5th. And the Browns visit Baltimore next weekend for their season finale. And I'm not holding my breath on the Browns beating Baltimore next week. So, and I don't think none of us Browns fans are. And I got to give the game balls, unfortunately, to the Dolphins. Tyler Huntley, 22 of 26 carries and attempts, 225 yards, 1 touchdown. That was on the passing end of it. Tyler Huntley on the receiving end, 7 attempts, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyreek Hill, 9 receptions, 105 yards. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson had 24 of 47 carries and attempts, 170 yards, 1 interception. Jerry Jeudy, 12 attempts, 94 yards. And Deonta Foreman, 13 attempts, 49 yards. And the Browns just could not do anything right today. They were held to just one field goal, one Dustin Hopkins field goal, which was in the first quarter, and it was and I think it was in the first quarter. It was in the first quarter. It was a Hopkins 25-yard field goal, 4th and 7 at the Miami 7, and that was the only points they scored in this game today. And you've got to do more than that. You've got to start scoring touchdowns if you want to win. You can't win by field goals. You just can't do that. So we're going to have a lot of work to do this offseason. And I'm going to get the other scores in just a moment and let you know about Sunday night game. But right now, it's time to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 NFL Week 17 trivia question. It's a Dolphins trivia question. The Browns' opponent, Who was the first Dolphin QB to pass for more than 400 yards in a game? And if you said David Woodley, you are correct. As a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, he is known as the bridge, the eras of half of former half of Hall of Famers, Bob Greasy and Dan Marino, but it was Woodley who possessed, uh, who passed for 408 yards in a 28-27 loss to the Dallas Cowboys on October 25th, 1981. I will have another trivia question on my next podcast, so stay tuned for that. Right now, we're going to get the other scores. Well, the other late game, the Minnesota Vikings beat the Green Bay Packers, held down to beat them by 2, 27-25. Given the game balls to the Vikings. Sam Darnold, Aaron Jones, and I think it's Jalen Naylor and Justin Jefferson. I give him a game ball as well. Now to get to the early games, we're going to do them. The New York Giants beat Indianapolis Colts 45-33, and they may lose their first round pick that they have right now with that win. And I give the game balls to Daniel Jones and the Giants. The Buffalo Bills just walloped the New York Jets today and Aaron Rodgers 40-14 at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo. I give the game balls to Josh Allen and Amari Cooper and the Buffalo Bills. The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Tennessee Titans 20-13 at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. I give it to Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, the game balls. The Las Vegas Raiders get a big win on the road over the New Orleans Saints 25-10 at Caesar Superdome in New Orleans. I give the game balls to the LA Raiders. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just all over Carolina today, 48-14 at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. I give the game balls to Baker Mayfield and the Bucks. The Philadelphia Eagles manhandled the Dallas Cowboys 41-7. I give it to the game balls, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and A.J. Brown. And boy, just a manhandle. First time that Philadelphia beat Dallas in 11 years at home. They beat them. And that rounds out the early games. And right now, and I took Tampa Bay, Philly, Buffalo, Jacksonville, Miami, and Minnesota and won. I lost on Indianapolis and New Orleans. My brother-in-law took the Colts and lost. He lost on the Titans-Jaguar games. Lost on the Saints game and took the Cowboys. Lost on that one. But he won on the Vikings, Buccaneers, and the Dolphins-Browns game. So he is 7-6 right now, and I am 12-2 right now. And right now, the Atlanta Falcons are up on the Washington Commanders 17-7, and I have Washington for that one. My brother-in-law took the Falcons, and it's a 2nd and 10 at the Atlanta 39. The Commanders have the ball, and it just has not gone well in the third quarter with 11:32 left, and Washington needs to score if they want to get the win in this game. And tomorrow night's game, Monday Night Football, the Detroit Lions will take on the San Francisco 49ers at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. So if I can win these last two, I have a chance to go 14-2, but I'm hoping Washington can come back and score, so we'll see. I've taken Detroit for tomorrow night's game, and my brother-in-law took the 49ers. So we have 5 we didn't agree on this week. So, the Browns will have a lot of work to do this offseason, and they need to do something during the combine and free agency besides in the draft. So, because Watson is not the answer for long-term quarterback. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 Browns NFL recap show with the early games and the early late games, post-game show, and the Sunday Night Football update show, and last night's Saturday night game update recap as well. And I'll be back with the Sunday Night Football post-game show once the game between the Falcons and Commanders has concluded. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.